I want you to imagine that tonight you and I are going to go to a bar to meet women. So we walk into the bar and you're looking around at the kinds of women who are around. And it doesn't take long for your eyes to settle on this blonde on the other side of the bar. And she is stunning. The way her dress falls on her body reveals just enough of a curve to drive you wild. And her smile, it's infectious. And you'll find yourself constantly wanting to look in her direction. Even though I'm having a conversation with you, you try your hardest to keep talking to me, but your body, your brain, it craves to keep looking at her and just watch her as she moves, as she talks and interacts with her friends. Of course, I notice this happen. And so I say, hey, why don't you go and talk to her? She's pretty cute. Go say hello and see how it goes. Now, for 90% of you, as you walk over there to talk to her, something is going to happen. And that something is that you are going to compress and bury all of that dark sexual attraction energy that you originally felt. And you're going to bury it deep down inside. By the time you get in front of her, you're going to be sweet as apple pie. Hey, how's it going? It's really nice to see you. I'm Damien. How's your night going? And all our masculinity is gone. And all our power and sense of self-power is gone. And she can feel that. And she will talk to you. You seem like a sweet, nice guy. But do you feel sexual to her? No. Do you feel sexy to her? No. And this burying of our darker nature, this burying of the darker parts of our sexuality, is what 90% of my clients struggle with, and it impacts every aspect of their dating lives. It's not just about being scared to go and talk to a woman you like. It's about asking her for a number. It's about asking her home. It's about trying to sexually escalate. It's about bantering, right? If you ever found yourself stuck in conversation and you don't know what to say, I'm willing to bet 90% of the time it's because you're scared of looking a certain way. You're scared of coming across a certain way because we are so preoccupied with don't let her see that you're really attracted to her. Don't let her see that darker part of who you are. And us guys, we can't really be blamed for this because most of the time, we are raised and given an education about sexuality from women. Most guys, most of the time, are raised by mothers. Even if dad is around, he's not around that much. Most of our teachers were women. Certainly most of the advocates we see in the media or at school talking to us about sexuality, about masculinity, are women. And these are undoubtedly great, intelligent women with very good intentions, right? But the fact remains that nobody should be teaching us about our masculinity except for men, because women cannot. It'd be as useful as me trying to teach women about femininity. So that's the education that we see. And unfortunately, what we learn is that there is something deeply toxic about being sexual. There's something deeply dangerous about our dark desires as men. We are taught to suppress that. We're taught that it's disgusting, that it's icky, that it should be hidden. And so little wonder that when we see a woman we like and we're starting to feel those feelings, we want to hide them from her. We don't want her to see it in our eyes. We don't want her to be aware that those are the things that we're really feeling. And that prevents most of the guys that I work with from getting women to be attracted to them. And yes, you've been lied to by Hollywood largely about how attraction works and what women are going to be attracted to in a guy. But instead of looking at Hollywood, what you really need to be looking at, what is the kind of literature that women are watching that turns them on, that gets them aroused, that they read alone in the dark when they want to feel sexy thoughts. Because I'll tell you one thing, chick crack literature, man, the men, they're dangerous. There's always an element to the men that are dangerous. I don't care if it's Twilight or Dracula or 50 Shades of Grey. The main guy is not sweet as apple pie. These are men who are dangerous, right? These are men who, in the case of, Dracula and the Twilight Saga, these are guys who literally crave to kill the woman, right? And yet Edward himself is not the Chad that most guys think most women crave. He's not that kind of guy, is he? He's kind of dorky and lanky, but yet he's dangerous, right? He's dangerous, but he takes good care of her, right? He's dangerous, but he cares about her. And this is really at the core of what's so important for guys to come around to. So think about your dark nature like a German Shepherd, because you can go to the vet. and you can buy yourself a German Shepherd and you can baby it. You can take care of it. You can cater to its every whim. And every time it gets scared of something, you cuddle it and you say, oh, it's okay, baby, it's okay. And sure enough, that German Shepherd can become an adult German Shepherd that is afraid of everything, including its own shadow, right? And it will, when there's thunder, it whimper and climb into your lap like a big old baby. Or you can buy a German Shepherd from the pet store and you can neglect it largely, right? Kick it now and again. Don't show it any love. Don't give it any attention. And rather than become a baby, it could become a junkyard dog that attacks everyone that comes near it, barks a lot, it attacks, it's unfriendly. You don't want to be around it. And it's a general menace to society. Men also do this with their darker natures, right? And this is where you get things like toxic masculine behaviors coming out with guys who absolutely have no control over their darker natures. Or you can buy that German Shepherd from the vet store and you can take care of it. You can train it. You can build a relationship with it, right? You accept that it is a dog that has a darker nature. You can accept that it can be angry and it can be violent, but it can also be trained to behave. And so when you have this guard dog, the guard dog is capable of being dangerous. It is capable of being wild, but it knows that only in certain circumstances is that acceptable. And this is the relationship that we need to have with our darker natures. It is wild. It is kind of nasty at times, and it needs to be controlled and let loose when it's appropriate. And you know that women do this in real life. You know that most women, unfortunately, would rather be with a guy's a bit of a dick, but will just ravish her, will do what he wants, will treat her like his sex toy in that moment, right? He will just go crazy. Most women would prefer that than the guy is really nice and sweet and just wants to take care of her. Talking sexually here, right? Because that is sexually exciting. And we all have known about women who have lovely husbands who are just nice and sweet, and yet they'll cheat on him with the guy who'll treat her like rubbish. And it's not because he's treating her like rubbish. Okay, sometimes it is. But a lot of the time, it's because she just wants to be ravished. She wants a man who's connected with his darker, wilder nature, and she misses that from her marriage to a nice, sweet husband. The truth is that you can be that German Shepherd that has been well raised, right? That can be wild when the moment calls for it. But there's a shortage of such men. So women are torn. They're torn. Do I pick the nice guy who's going to take care of me, or do I pick the dick who's going to be great sex? You can be both. And this is what most of my clients really struggle with. You may think that it's a lack of social skills. You may feel like you just don't know what to say. You may feel like you don't know how to sexually escalate and you're just a little bit awkward. But actually, the awkwardness is because there is that darker sexual nature that wants to come out and you're hiding from it. You're keeping it at a distance. So how do you work on this stuff? How do you really make this change? It's not so hard. I mean, the first thing you have to do, actually, it is hard, but you got to start somewhere. And the very first thing that you need to do is you need to start catching yourself. You need to catch yourself when you see a really attractive woman and you feel yourself burying your sexual desires, right? When you go and approach a woman, just catch yourself. Oh, I've gone into nice mode. Oh, look at my voice. It's gone really high pitched and sweet and nice. And I'm smiling too much. Notice yourself when you do these things, right? Catch yourself and try to take a step back, make a switch, start to feel those things instead. You don't need to change what you do. You don't need to change what you say, because that glint in your eye, she will see that you're connected to that part of yourself. She will see you approach that blonde in the bar that I talked about. She will see that you crave her. You don't have to do or say anything specific, but if you're connected with it, she's going to feel it, right? Stop burying it. Notice when you feel ashamed to try to kiss a girl. Notice why. Notice what's coming up for you. Those feelings of shame, right? And embarrassment that we feel about this kind of stuff. It's common. And most of the guys have it. But when you start to notice it, you can start to change it. You can start to purposely, consciously stay holding on to these thoughts. And that will be uncomfortable. Trust me. I run retreats for guys down in Australia in the mountains. And we do work on this for a whole weekend, just this stuff. And it is grueling hard work because we're trying to undo a whole bunch of shame that we hold around our darker natures as men. But we need to start little bit by little bit, chewing away at it, noticing when we do it to make a real change. To those of you who really want to challenge yourselves, here's what I suggest you do. And it's not going to be very politically correct. Next time you're out during the day or at nighttime, in a bar, out in the wild like this, and you approach a woman, I want you to be constantly picturing in your head, what would this woman look like if we were physically intimate? What would this woman look like if we were having sex right now? What would her facial expressions be like? What would her body look like? Connect with it. Be aroused by it. Be turned on by it, right? Don't talk about it. Don't look at her. Don't change your body language, but just hold this in your head the whole time you're talking to her. You'll have a bit of a cheeky smile on your face, probably. Your body, like your eyes will change because you'll be in this load of thought. And I'm willing to bet that most of you will find this intensely uncomfortable because we are not used to women looking at us while we're feeling these dark parts of ourselves. But I guarantee something else. When you do this, not every woman's going to like you as a result, because some women, you're just not their type. Imagine a woman who comes along who's like, I don't know, hairy and unpleasant looking and smells bad, and she starts looking at you. You know that look women can get when they're like really turned on? Imagine she looks at you like that. Okay, fine. You're not going to be attracted to her just because she looks at you like that. But you're going to polarize women, and you're going to find that some women will really respond to you when you hold on to these thoughts, when you approach them. Not all, but some. Others will not like it, and some will like it. But you're not being creepy. You're not being sleazy. You're not doing something wrong. You're polarizing. You're letting them know this is why I'm here, and this is who I am, and this is what I feel about you. And some women are going to love it. And that's the only way that you're going to get women to see you as a sexual potential partner and not as a nice, sweet guy who I could be friends with. So, those of you who do take on that challenge, I would love to hear from you, because this is really confronting work for guys. It was really confronting work for me when I had to work on it. And as I said, I run retreats with guys, and we work on this over a weekend, and it's intense and it's tough and it's not easy because we have all of these feelings of shame and doubt about ourselves and feeling like we are dirty. And it's not even necessarily conscious. It's an unconscious thing most of the time, but it's there. And so that's my challenge to you guys. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, guys. As always, if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I look forward to seeing you in my future videos.